they're getting pennies on the dollar from. And to top it off, I mean, there are regulations there. You should see these bid forms. I mean, it brings 25 cents on the dollar of what it would on the open market, like a bid sale around here with a private forester, just because the regulations are so tight on it. You spend so much money, you almost spend the value of the timber getting it out because there's just unnecessary, I mean, it's totally unnecessary regulation to buy it. So it all gets figured in, and you know, the profit, net profit to them is minimal because of their regulation.
That seems to be a common theme when you're looking at Pennsylvania government. I mean, whether it's building a building or timbering or starting a business, there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of regulations, a lot of forms, a lot of rules, a lot of roadblocks that get put in the place of progress.
Too many.
Pardon?
Too many.
No, there are. I think so. Hopefully, there'll be. Our current governor is finishing up his 8th year right now. Because of term limits, he cannot run for re-election. So we'll have a new governor come January, and hopefully, whoever the new governor is can kind of back off on some of these things and make it a little bit easier. Because like I said before, if there's fewer regulations, fewer rules, lower taxes, it's going to do a lot to improve our economy. Yes?
It seems that it's been being on education, not just been about. Is there anything on the motion in the state that you would know of that have some sort of minimum required for teaching, teachers? I mean, we get the cost of raise, we can raise the cost of living. I make 40,000, make 90. The whole thing seems to be backwards a little bit. I'm not going to budget people, but it seems like every year we are. Some people get hurt. Those who serve us are doing something better than we are. It seems like this tax is close to death. But to have our schools not teaching to a proper level is drives me crazy.
Yeah, teachers, obviously they have to graduate with a 4-year bachelor's degree from college. Then they have to take exams, and I can't think what they call it. There's 3 major exams they have to take. There's like a general knowledge exam, there's a math one, and then maybe an English one. They have to pass all 3 of those in order to be a teacher. And even teachers at low-tech schools have to take those too. Regular school teachers and low-tech teachers. What is lacking is that there isn't really any kind of merit pay right now. And every once in a while you hear proposals for merit pay where teachers would be paid a higher salary if their students perform better. Well, then teachers are usually against that, and they fight against that. The thing the federal government was doing, the race to the top, that program had its pros and cons, but in order to qualify for that, the school board and the teachers had to be in agreement. They were going to do what it takes to change the way they run the school system to qualify for that federal money. Well, locally here, like down in Titusville, the teachers union would not go along with it, so Titusville wasn't able to apply. And as a result, they were missing out on millions of dollars that they might have been able to receive. Pardon?
We applied with the signatures that we had, the president of the board and the superintendent.
Right, but the teachers wouldn't.
The teachers union would not sign off on it because they didn't want anything to do with merit pay.
Right.
And they didn't want anything to do with any kind of regulation and so forth. I guess my question,
That's unfortunate that money isn't going to be there now. You could have had a big check laying in your lap.
it's possible, Pennsylvania, I guess, is now not even.
Well, there's going to be like a second round coming up.
But with the reason that the union had to sign on was an additional rule in Pennsylvania.
That was a federal now required.
Right, that was because of our state legislature and governor. Other states didn't have to have a union's signature before that stimulus money came in.
Right, that wasn't, the legislature had nothing to do with it. That was solely the governor did that decision, requiring the unions to go along with it. We had no say in that at all.
Okay, so that's the problem. I guess the other thing, the question is going to go around, which is the
spike that's going to come from pensions. I know, I'm going to tell you the schools, so we have to come up with a pile of money. And we talked about the different regulations. So go to DC and our number for you guys. I guess that's one question. And then what are you doing? How are you going to help us as local school directors to, because, I mean, Governor Rendell was really paying attention to it this last year. I think he made it sound like $200 million in. We should have put $600 million in. And we got to make up the difference somehow. If anybody comes to the state legislature, it's going to have to come to the local school districts because we're working on contracts that the teachers need to continue to negotiate and continue to get decreases in their salaries and stuff. And there's nothing we can do. That's what the saying is. We can't because the law says we have to pay this money. And on the other side of that, I worked for the school district for a while, and I'm part of that retirement system. It's very beneficial. And I think the starting wage of a school teacher types is $38,000 a year. And there isn't too many places, like this gentleman over here said, that you can start out the first year out of college with $38,000 a year and work 9 months and then have 3 months off. I don't know, what do we do with it? We need to stop the cycle.
For people that aren't familiar with the whole pension issue, back in about 2001, the state has 2 major pension plans. There's the SERS, that's State Employee Retirement System, and PSERS. That's
Pennsylvania State Employee Retirement System.
Right, I said that wrong. Anyways, the 2 pension plans, they were funded at around 110, 120%, something like that. So for every dollar of pension payments that they had to pay someday, they had $1.15 or $1.20 sitting there. So what the legislature did, and that's before I was there, what the legislature did is they passed a law that increased the multipliers of what people got paid for each year of service. So rather than getting paid 2% of your salary, of your final salary for every year you work, they changed it to 2.5%. And the problem with that is there's no actuarial, science behind that. It's just money that was given out that the teachers and the state employees didn't really contribute to have that adjustment. Well, then there's the terrorist attack and the stock market tanked. And then here a couple of years ago, the stock market tanked again. But then part of that legislation also, it artificially reduced what the employer contribution was, the amount the school district puts in, the amount the state puts in. So you had this fund of money that lost value because the stock market crashed. Well, then you started giving out bigger pension checks that were never calculated for. And then the money that gets put in every year was reduced to a level that was way too low. Then the stock market crashed again. So as a result, the state budget, when you look at the different departments in Pennsylvania, there's probably, I'm just guessing, $500 million we have to put into the pension plans this year out of that $29 billion budget proposal. Well, 2 years from now, we're going to be putting in something like $2 billion. Depends on what the market does. So that's going to be another $1.5 billion we have to come up with. Now the stock market might take off, and it might only be $1 billion, or it might tank again. We might have to put in $3 billion. But my point is, it's a very serious problem. Now some of the solutions that we're looking at, that there's no attractive alternative. One alternative is to just refinance the whole mess. Sort of like people do. If somebody has a 15-year mortgage and they can't afford their house payment, they refinance it over 30 years to spread out the payments, give themselves lower payments over more time. But you get killed with interest costs when you do that, and you literally be paying off a debt, 30 years from now on something that should have been taken care of today. Another proposal is to change the pension plan for new employees. When people start working for the state, starting whenever the legislation would pass, they wouldn't be in the pension plan. Just like most companies no longer have a pension plan. Well, for the new employees, you just wouldn't have them in the pension plan. Or there's another proposal that would be kind of a hybrid plan, where it would be a combination of a defined benefit plan and a defined contribution plan. It would be less generous than the current plan. But what's surprising is a lot of the state employees and the teachers, they're fighting against that. They don't think it's fair that the new teachers and the state employees wouldn't have the same plan. And I can't figure that one out because it wouldn't impact them. If somebody's working